All right, guys. It looks like we are live. Looks like we got 3 people in the room already. Welcome, guys, to the American Nomad podcast. I am the American Nomad, Rav Holly. Good to have you with us today, guys. If you joined my last podcast, it was a train wreck. So I had a lot of problems with that podcast. So hopefully today's going to work a little bit better. I've been working trying to get those things ironed out. I ended up, I remember now why I switched from PC to Mac. I have my MacBook Pro right here. And I remember now why I switched from PC to Mac. I literally went back, or I bought a couple of PCs about probably 8 months ago now, 6, 7 months ago. And I've been on strictly Mac for since 2010 when my last Dell PC died. And so I switched over to Mac, and I have a 27-inch iMac that I bought. And then I have a Mac Pro, which is the desktop computer, and it's sitting right here. And then I have a MacBook laptop right here. But I got back into the gaming and things, so I needed a PC, and I wanted these bigger screens, and I wanted to be able to play games like Call of Duty, which I've been playing nonstop the last few days. The new Warzone, if you haven't heard of it. But anyway, so I remember why I went to Mac. It's because PCs, I don't care what you say, you just have problems with them. Like I ended up installing some software so I could hopefully be able to have a guest on via Skype, and something with this plugin that had to be installed on the computer has caused just all kinds of problems. Let's see who we got in the room. We have Joshua Rialto first. Hey, Josh, what's up, man? Trav, man, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Christina Harper. Hey, it's all the regulars we got. Nomad Unbroken. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Leah Nortz. Ambo Life. What's going on, Ambo Life? Good to have you guys in there in the room already. We got a couple of moderators in the room already. Thank you, guys. Christina Harper says it's going to storm here, so if I disappear, I'll probably have to shut my laptop down. No problem, Christina. It was raining here all day in LA yesterday, which is crazy. I mean, pouring rain for like an hour or so, which is really something different for us. Let's see here. Let me close this down over here. Whoops. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Hopefully, the live stream works out today. I think I got the quirks ironed back out, but I'm not going to make any promises. So if you lose me, I apologize, but hopefully we'll get to stream here for a little while without the stream cutting out. I will say that whatever that software, that plugin that I installed to be able to have a guest call in to the show and be able to have them on via Skype, that plugin that I installed, whatever it did, it's been causing my browser to crash. So my Chrome browser would just literally crash. So I spent about a couple hours today, like going through my computer and just kind of cleaning it out, which is something you really have to do on PCs, is you have to keep up the maintenance and make sure you clear all the cookies and the temp files and all that stuff, stuff you don't worry about on a Mac. Macs just work. You just turn them on and they work. I mean, I don't care. People can compare Mac and PC all you want to. I've got a very nice Alienware PC under here. It's my gaming computer. I've also got a Dell server under here, Inspiron server. I think that's what it is. I'd have to look at it. But I've also got 3 Macs here, and all the Macs are old, and they still work like a champ. No problems. I've never had any real problems out of the Macs. Let's see. Ambo Life says it's been raining here all day as well. Where are you guys at? Are you guys still in Alabama Hills? Christina Harper goes, you have huge screens. Yeah, that's what I do like, is I like the big screens. I have the 34-inch curved LG there, and then a 34-inch curved Dell here. And at some point I want to get, the Dell's going to be replaced by another one of these LGs over here. I like the LG better. This is a gaming screen over here. It's a 66 hertz gaming screen. Let me see if I can get this, get my windows set up here a little better. It's so weird because I had my music and stuff in here from last week, and my software. Um, I didn't understand. I didn't know this happened, but like when you set it up, you have to set it up every time because when you close the software, it auto deletes everything you had in there. Just kind of weird. Went to play my little drop in my music today, and it's not there. So let's see. I was gonna see if I could find it right quick, but I don't remember where I put it. Oh, there it is. Let's see. I think it's one of these. Yeah. How's that? Get a little background music going there. Yeah. So, Ambo Life. We are on the outskirts of Alabama Hills. Okay. Yeah. You're still out there in God's country. Good for you guys. Oh, I just hit the wrong button. Let's see. They are officially shut down, but we are staying. Oh, Alabama Hills is officially, well, yeah, the park and stuff is officially shut down, right? Or all of the camping grounds or anything. They shut all that stuff down. Uh, Joshua Rialto says, "What's the update on those troublemaker tweakers living by the railroad tracks? Are they gone yet?" You know what's funny is it's just one guy. There's a bunch of tweakers out there, but none of them really bother me except for the one guy that's singing all the time, Joshua. And since I complained about him the other day, I don't know if one of you guys offed him or what. I have not heard a peep out of him. So it's kind of weird because he sings out there every single day, and I haven't heard him the last couple of days. It's been so freaking nice, like such peace and quiet. But I wonder because it's been pouring rain, so he might have booked out of there and found some shelter that was a little better because he's just kind of tent living back there. So I think he's an elderly guy or an older Hispanic guy. Hey, what's up, Chevy Life? Good to see you, buddy. My buddy Trav Carter's in the room. No one has kicked us out yet, but I think I think they may not be looking for us. Okay. The BLM shut down for all public use. Oh, did it really? Wow, Ambo Life, that's crazy. Is that all the BLM everywhere, or is that just BLM where you guys are at in Alabama Hills? So I got a few show notes and topics today. Hey, Eve, Brooklyn Bulldog, what is going on, girl? Good to see you. We got 8 people in the room. We got 4 thumbs up. I do appreciate the thumbs up, guys. They help the videos in the algorithm a little bit. We don't make any money off of it, but it just helps push our videos out there and gets it into the YouTube recommended. So if you hit that thumbs up, I do appreciate it. It's not mandatory though. Leon Nort says Adventure Van Man got booted off his camping site near BLM near China Lakes. Forgot the name. Falls something. Huh. Wow. I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. I mean, why are they messing with nomads? I don't understand that at all. I mean, they're in the best place they can be. I mean, they're out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself. You're not causing any problems. And as long as you're, not trashing the place, I don't understand what the problem is. I mean, the only problem is, I guess, is that the Rangers are probably not on duty as much, or they're shorthanded with Rangers, so they don't have anybody to overlook and make sure everything is, hunky dory. I guess I don't know. Eve said, "I heard that the BLM dispersed camping was okay on I heard that dispersed camping was okay on BLM." That's what we're talking about, Eve. Evidently, a bunch of the nomads or some of the nomads are being asked to leave the dispersed camping on the BLM. But our friends here in the room, Amber Life, are still out there. Amber Life says, "Not sure if all BLM is closed, but it is here." But you guys are still out there. Are you guys on public BLM land? April and Devin and April with Amber Life. Christina Harper says parks are closed, but the dispersed camping is open. Yeah, I don't know why they would close the dispersed camping. That just doesn't even make sense to me on the BLM. I mean, that's exactly where people should be, is out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself, causing no trouble and just, living life. You're very quarantined out there. Which you think that's what they would want, is people to be nice and quarantined. Amber Life says we may be on the edge of BLM. Okay, that makes sense. So anyway, let me go over my show notes here. So my buddy Travis Carter there, Chevy Life, that's in the room. Oh, Rona. Every time I cough or something, the first thing I think of is Rona. If you cough in public, you're not allowed to cough in public anymore. Can we just talk about this? You're not allowed in this time. You're not allowed to cough or sneeze or anything in public anymore without people looking at you like you just molested their child. It's craziest thing. And now I'm all self-conscious and paranoid about it. I don't go out, but when I had to go out the other day and get some groceries and stuff, and when I went out, I was like standing in line to leave, and I needed to cough or sneeze or something. I can't remember, and I just held it. I didn't want to do it because I didn't want people looking at me like I had the Rona. Anyway, right before the show today, let's see what Nomad and Broken says. Trent and Allie was saying that friends. What is this? Trent and Allie was saying that friends that stayed behind in Morocco areas were told they're not allowed to travel, but they're not able to stay there. Huh. Trent and Allie from Trent and Allie. Okay. They're in Morocco. Yeah, Christina Harper says you'll get arrested if you cough in public. That's exactly right, Christina. Not sure where he is now. JB, that's a good one. Let's see. So anyway, my buddy, my good buddy Travis, Chevy Life, that's in the room, he sent me some information right before the show started today, and I get sent so much stuff that half the time I just blow it off. But I actually checked out what he had to send, and it's a deal talking about. He sent me an article that I read, and I read the article, and it was very intriguing. But there was really no source to verify who was writing this, and that's the problem with this whole pandemic. Is there's so many people writing down just whatever they want to write down, and if you can't verify it, it's hard to put it out there in public. But then right after I read the article, he sent me a YouTube video from a YouTube channel called Web MD something. I can't remember. It's on YouTube. Med. Gosh, I meant to write it down and I forgot. But anyway, he sent me this YouTube video from this medical doctor. Let me see if I can find his, I want to give you guys that information. I actually may post it in the room here. Give me a second, because it'd be interesting for you guys to watch this if you're interested in the pandemic. Basically, this video from YouTube is a medical doctor that is here we go, right here. I'll be able to post this in the room for you guys, for the link, so you can watch this at your own convenience. This guy, it's a YouTube channel called MedCram. That's what it is. And this guy that's giving this speech, it's 20 minutes and 22 seconds long. But basically what he's doing is talking about, he's treating COVID-19 patients. He's actually treating them. He's an ER doctor, or he's a doctor at a hospital, and he's been treating COVID-19 patients. And in this talk, he talks about this drug that's a lice drug. It's a parasitic remover drug. They use it for lice. They use it to deworm horses. And there's some other things. I guess you can get it in liquid form. There's some other things to it. I think it's going to be a lot like the hydrochlorine or whatever it is that Trump is always talking about. It's kind of a sister drug. It's a similar drug to that drug, but I guess there's different forms of it. So like the one that Trump was talking about, the chloroquine or chloroquine or whatever it's called. You know, that drug is also like it's for fish, you know, for koi fish ponds. And the couple drank that, and the husband died. So, you know, this drug is, I guess, is going to be probably the same way, and it's called iverrectin. Iverrectin. Is that right? Ivermectin. I can't read my own writing. It's called ivermectin, and I guess it's a lice. They use it for treating head lice. They use it for to deworm horses. They use it for several other different things. But there's also human form, and this doctor in this video. Let me go ahead and post this link to the room, guys. So you guys, if you want to check out this link, it's very informative. And he's talking about that the the COVID virus is it's attacking the hemoglobin, and there's another the hemoglobin and the porticin ring. I don't know what that is. I'm not a medical doctor, but I do know what the hemoglobin is. And he's talking about that it's attacking the hemoglobin, which is they're like misdiagnosing. They originally misdiagnosed the coronavirus, and they're putting these people in a respirator, which can actually do more damage in the long term than it's actually the this malaria medicine, the chloroquine, or whatever it is, and then this medicine that treats for parasites it's actually very promising. And this doctor said that he had a couple of patients that he gave the ivermectin. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but he gave it to a couple of patients, or he heard, maybe, I don't know. You'll have to listen to this video. I'm going to post in the room, but within 24 or 48 hours, the patients were already showing major improvements and a major de-escalation in the virus in their system. So that's you know, who knows it. You know, it may not be the cure, but I think at this point I think everybody's ready to try something. I mean, we're desperate at this point, right? So guys, I'm going to post the link to this video for MedCram. I'm going to post the link right now in the chat room. So if you want to follow the link and just bookmark it and watch it later, I think it's really interesting information. Yeah, Chevy Life says it's MedCram. Leah Nortz. No, I read another article about it on WebMD. So if you search for the ivermectin, this drug, there's a few articles on it already. There's one from the South China Sea, which is a Chinese paper, and then there's one from WebMD, and then there's another one. And the one from South China Sea talks about, or the South China not South China Sea, the South China News or whatever it is. It's the one that's talking about it being a head lice medicine. Anyway, guys, I just posted the link in the room if you want to check it out. BLM, yes. For you guys that don't know, BLM stands for the Bureau of Land Management. They're a government organization that is in charge of all the public land that's owned by the government. Did you hear what that it's all the public land that's owned by the government? That doesn't even make sense. It's our land, but it's owned and managed by the government. But it's open to the public. Hydrochloroquine. There you go. Hydrochloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine. Thank you, Brooklyn. Eve. Thank you, Eve. Trav Man, you are the man. Look at that. Trav Man hit me with a super chat. Thank you, buddy. I do appreciate that. Let me get back over here and gosh, well, I haven't set that thing up since it's been a minute since I set that thing up. Let's get our ticker all set up there. I do appreciate it, Trav Man. Thank you, sir. See if I can shrink this thing down a little bit. There we go. And I want to get the ticker going. Let's see. Um, I'll tell you one thing about getting older is just the simple fact that you can't see. My vision has just really went downhill like the last couple of years. Never really, I've always had glasses and contacts, but my vision has just it has really went south the last couple of years. Probably from sitting in front of a freaking computer screen all as much as I do. All right. Thank you again, Trav Man, for the super chat. I really appreciate that, buddy. See if we can get this thing scrolling here. Bam. Done. So let's see. Back to the chat room. Same here with the vision. Yeah, JBK. It is it's it's I don't even know what to say. It's a real pain in the butt because my vision just um within the last 2 years, I guess. I used to be able to read fine, and now I have to take my glasses off. And the last time I went to an eye doctor, he mentioned that to me. He's like, "Hey, you might need some bifocals here, pretty soon." I was like, "What?" I thought he was. I thought he didn't know what he was talking about. He knew exactly what he was talking about. Let's see, Christina Harper. How much is this gas out there in LA? It's $1.25 to $1.80 in Indiana. Holy moly, it's still $3 and something out here. Let me find my phone. Yeah, it's still over $3. They literally want to. I mean, it's a price gouging thing. Like the rest of the country could be paying 49 cents for gas, and California is not going to lower it, probably less than $3. I mean, that's I don't know how many Democrats we have in the room, but that's Democrats for you. As much as they can steal from the people, that's as much as they're going to do. Which is so funny because everybody talks about, oh, they're the people, they're the people that are for the people. They're the people that the rich Republicans are only for the rich and the corporations and all that stuff. The Democrats are the ones that are very, liberal and for the poor people and everything. Bull crap. Move to a liberal city and get taxed to death. I used to think the same thing. I used to buy that whole sham too, that the liberals were for the poor people and for the middle class, and the Republicans, now that I will say like the GOP, like the Bush Republicans, they're not my type of Republicans. They're the neoconservatives. That's why I'm an independent. I'm an independent too, Christina Harper. Leah Nort says, Christina, around $2 here. However, I'm getting 3 weeks per gallon. Yeah. Gas is lasting a little longer, right? Everyone should be required to read Animal Farm in grade school. I don't know if I've read that. Animal Farm. Sounds familiar. Let's see. What was I looking up again? I forgot what I was freaking doing. Oh, gas. I was going to look at the price of gas with my gas app. For me, it's the price of diesel. So, and that's another sad thing is, which is the government in general, but it all started here in California. So that's another rant. Let me get off on that one. Let me find my freaking gas app. There it is. Here we go. If it'll load, maybe someday. What about Animal House? I've seen Animal House. I've seen Animal House with Jim Belushi. Is it or James Belushi that passed away? Let's see. Yep, gas is 305, 307, 309, 329, 335, 345 at Arco. You guys probably can't see that. Gas has not went down here at all for diesel. I mean, a little bit. It was, I think it was around 365 the last time I filled up. So it's dropped 30 cents. Welcome to the Democratic state of California. where they're going to tax you every single way they can tax you. Just for your information, here's another thing that just went into effect at the beginning of this year. So for years, I've been buying stuff off eBay. My eBay account, if you look at it on eBay, it goes back to 1999. And one of the things I loved about eBay is you don't pay sales tax. I mean, when you buy something on eBay, you don't have to pay any sales tax on it. Why would you have to pay sales tax, especially if it's used? If I buy something used, if I buy this phone used off eBay, whoever bought it new paid the sales tax on it. Why in the hell would you have to pay sales tax on it? So at the beginning of the year, I ordered, I think it was this mic. I think it was this mic right here. No, I can't remember what it was. But I ordered something on eBay that was used. And I went to pay for it and got out to pay. I mean, I was going through the eBay process of paying for what I'd ordered, and the guy assessed sales tax to the order. So that really PO'd me. So I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, I sent him a note. I said, cancel my order. I'm not paying you sales tax. I don't know what you're doing. I mean, why would I pay sales tax on a used, whatever it was that I was buying? I said, I said, why would you even do that? And he wrote me right back and he goes, hey man, he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any sales tax put on that, on anything. He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, let me look. And he looked, he goes, oh yeah, it does show sales tax on there. He goes, I didn't put that on there. He goes, that must be an eBay mistake. Let me find out. So about 30 minutes later, he contacted me back, and I was just not expecting to pay any sales tax because we're going to refuse to pay sales tax. Because I was like, that's some bull crap. That's absolute bull crap on eBay to have to pay sales tax. And so he texted me back, or he sent me a message back through eBay, and he goes, hey man, I just got a hold of eBay, and evidently there's some new law that went into effect in California. And now eBay has to charge sales tax on anything that's being shipped to California. Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I was like, what? And sure enough, yeah, welcome to California, where 60,000 people's living out on the sidewalk, but they'll charge you sales tax for anything used you buy off eBay. Yeah, I got to get the hell out of California. Don't get me wrong. I love California. I mean, I've got a California or a Hollywood hoodie on. I love this state, demographics and the land. I love it's one of the most beautiful states in the 50 states. That's why so many people want to live here, and the weather is immaculate. I mean, it gets like Groundhog Day, because I mean, every day is just usually a beautiful sunny day. Like yesterday when we've been having a little bit of rain, I don't mind it because it doesn't rain at all. So when it just poured rain yesterday, you just don't mind it because it just never rains. And so it's actually kind of a nice change of pace. So those are the things I love. But the freaking politicians that run this state, the Democrats, when I moved here from Texas, I had no problems with Democrats. I would listen to my Republican friends rant and rave about Democrats. And I'm like, oh, it's just because they don't like gay marriage, or it's just because of this, or they don't like Democrats because of that. I can't stand Democrats now. I literally despise them. And I used to hear people in Texas call them libtards and all this stuff. And I was like, why would you do that? They just want to be, they're for the everyday man. All they want to do is, help people and, let people live their lives. They're not worried about gay people getting married and all these things. And I'm for that. I don't care if gay people get married. And that's kind of the way I used to look at it until I moved to California. And all that changed. Oh, Hines said, I left California in 2006. You're a smart man. That's actually when I moved here. When I moved here, it wasn't near as bad as it is now. Chevy Live says gas there in Texas, right outside of Dallas, right south of Dallas, is $1.39. Christina Harper says, do you have Gas Buddy? I use. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just looking at. Christina Harper was my Gas Buddy app. And I should probably look at I'm looking at diesel. So let me look at regular gas. I'm sure regular gas is cheaper than diesel. Okay, so yeah, regular gas is $2.85, $2.89. So yeah, regular gas has dropped quite a bit. $2.93, $2.89, $2.93, $2.99. So yeah, I forgot to look at that because I only put diesel in my rig. It only takes diesel. But that was another thing. So let me rant about this. Let me rant about this. So here's another deal. Yeah, Ambo Life, stupid Democrats. So anyway, here's another one that the Democrats did, or the state of California basically did this. The state of California caused this implementation. So diesel does not have to be refined. It's the cheapest fuel, and that's why back in like the 80s or the 90s, if gas was $1.50, diesel was 89 cents because it's a fuel. It's a regular fuel. It doesn't have to be refined like gasoline. So it should be so cheap. But then when the diesel pickups started coming out, when Ford invented the diesel pickup and people started buying diesel pickups, I guess the government saw an opportunity there to be able to make more money. So what did they do? They started refining the diesel and putting all these restrictions for the environment on vehicles that burn diesel. Um, and so now you have all this DEF and you have all this stuff that you have to do the diesels. And so you can still burn the red diesel, the old unrefined diesel. I could use it in my truck and it's super cheap. But if you get caught out there, I mean, it's thousands of dollars fines if you're using like the old unrefined diesel, which is what everybody used to use until the state of California, with their emissions bull crap, started bitching and moaning about diesels. Yeah, Embo Life, low sulfur diesel. But you can still get the low sulfur diesel to burn in your farm equipment and to use on the farm. Detox D, what's up, Detox? Why did he drop out, Bernie? Oh, let's talk about Bernie. Do we have any Bernie Sanders fans in the room? I don't think we do, but if we do, I mean, I don't have anything against Bernie. I just don't think his policies are, yeah, his I mean, do I think that we need socialist health care in this country? I do think that we do. It would be nice if we all had some kind of health care. But the problem is I just don't know. You know, used to the employers always provided health care back in the 90s. I always had health care because whoever I worked for. And sometimes I would go apply for two different jobs, and one job would pay a little bit more, but it would have a crappier EP. What was it? The old health cares, the EPO or whatever, healthcare, and then another company might not be paying quite as much, but had great healthcare. And so I would usually pick the job that had the best healthcare. Amber Life says Bernie is an old geezer smoking the government's teat. Yes, or sucking the government's teat. I agree with that. The only person Bernie Sanders has ever brought out of poverty is Bernie Sanders. He's been Bernie Sanders has been in the government for 30 or 40 years. And I mean, he's a career politician, which is the reason I voted for Trump, because Trump's not a politician. And you can see that every day in the news, or anytime he does anything. He does not do anything like a polished politician. That's what I love about him. Ohioan says Biden will get stomped on. Yep. Poor Biden. I mean, he's so senile right now. He can't even keep his thoughts together to have a conversation. Detox D, do you think Trump will win again? I will bet money on it. If the oldness can make it to November. Yeah. I don't think, yeah, I mean, stranger things have happened, but if I had to put my money on it in Vegas, I'd put my money on Trump. Unless something just, well, I said if the economy crashed, that that it would be detrimental to Trump, but I never had an inclination that it would be something like a pandemic that would crash the economy. Trump doesn't really have. I mean, that's not really. Trump doesn't have control over something like that. Eve says an HB gas is $2.49. That's not too bad, Eve. I'm surprised in Orange County it's cheaper down there than it is LA. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't have anything against Biden, but I think Trump's gonna. Joe Rogan said this on his podcast like a week ago, that he said that Trump's gonna chew him up and spit him out, and I kind of agree with that notion. I don't think Biden's gonna be able to I mean, Trump decimated all the Republicans last time around, and like from Jeb Bush to you name it, like them guys, he chewed them up and spit them out, and then he chewed Hillary up and spit her out. So I don't think Biden's going to have, the only way I could see Biden winning something or winning any kind of debate against Trump is if Trump lets his ego, which he can, if he lets his ego take too much of a lead to where it looks like he's bullying Biden. And so, if he starts making fun of Biden because he can't remember stuff or something like that, I could see that playing against Trump. But I think Trump's too smart for that. Detox D says, how do you see the predictions of the Simpsons that Trump's daughter might run for president in the future? I think I never saw that. Was that one of the Simpsons episode, Detox D? Because I said that right when Trump ran and won, and the Democrats were losing their mind over it. I said that we may have we could end up having 12 years or 16 years of Trump, because Ivanka could run right after her dad if she wanted to, and I think she would win in 2024. I mean, it depends. Trump's still got a ways to go. We'll see what happens. Karen Snyder. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Biden unable to complete a thought. Yeah, he's his memories, I don't fault him for that though. You know what I mean? I kind of make fun of him a little bit here and there, but you can't really fault the guy for that. He's older in age and those things happen. But I don't think he's fit to run the country because he can't even keep his thoughts together. I mean, Trump is an older guy too, but I mean, he's he rants and raves a lot, but he still is very coherent in what he's doing. Chevy Life. Let's see. Trav says, here's my conspiracy. They will steal the election from Trump. Biden will be elected, and his VP will either be Hillary or Michelle Obama. Biden will get sick and die. BP will take over. Could be. Chevy Life. I don't see Michelle Obama running. She's already said she has absolutely no want to ever be into politics again. And I think Hillary's pretty much done. Joe Biden thinks, that's funny, Joshua. Joe Biden thinks Betty White is jailbait. That's pretty funny. Because Betty White, I think, is a lot older than Joe Biden. Betty White's got to be one of the oldest people on the planet. What is she pushing, 90 now? What is Betty White? I feel sorry for her because I was watching a thing the other day and they were talking about the Golden Girls and how her and the other lady that played Maud or whatever in the TV show Maud, they used to have they bickered back and forth a lot on that Golden Girls show, but when she died, Betty White took it really, really hard. Trav says, one thing's for sure, no telling what they'll pull this time. Yeah, I don't think they have much of a chance to do much of anything. If they were gonna pull a conspiracy or something, if they were gonna really, Betty White is 98. Yeah, if they were gonna pull something crazy, they would have pulled it for Hillary, because Hillary was their girl. This is what I think. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. It's along the conspiracy line, the conspiracy theory line too. But here's what I think is going to happen. I think what's his name? Andrew Cuomo, or the governor of New York. It's Cuomo, Governor Cuomo. I can't remember his first name. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see them try to do a switch up. I think they'll try to run somebody else. I think they're going to have a last minute somebody try to come in to the race and challenge Biden, but we'll see what happens. Joe says Cuomo will be VP, and I don't know why. Hey, Brian, no, good to see you, buddy. Joe, good to see you. Nomad and Broken goes, I think they did for Hillary, and it wasn't enough. Yeah, exactly. Joe says he destroyed New York City. Christina Harper, isn't Michelle Obama a man? Let's see. Joan Rivers said she was. Said he was. She was. I don't know. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that one too about Michelle Obama, and it came out of Joan Rivers' mouth. Joan Rivers said that, and then mysteriously, Joan Rivers died. Like not very long after that, having surgery, having cosmetic surgery. So let's Joe Federico. Hey Joe, are you from New York City? Are you from NYC? Because here's something to think about. So I'm just like everybody else. I used to when I was younger, I used to think Republicans were evil, and I ended up when I lived in Texas. Brian says I'm having trouble loading this page. Give me a second. No problem, Brian. Yeah, when I lived in Texas, I wasn't too high on Republicans. I mean, you had Ronald Reagan and stuff, but I didn't care for the Bushes that much. Still don't, especially Cheney. I despise that guy. I despise Dick Cheney like most Trump haters despise Trump. Okay, Joe, you're in Niagara Falls, New York. Hey, I've been there, buddy. That's actually that's a nice little spot up there. I actually I've walked across there's Rainbow Falls, but the American Falls, you go down to the bridge where the American Falls is, and then you can cross over the bridge from New York State into Niagara Falls, Canada. And I've actually done that and walked over to Niagara Falls, Canada, and actually had something to eat. Yeah, it's a nice little spot up there, Joe. Yeah, the Rainbow Bridge. But it's the Rainbow Bridge. That's right. Okay, gotcha. Can't remember exactly what it was. It's been a minute. It was probably 2001. It was right before 9/11 the last time I was up there. Nomad Unbroken says, yeah, I never liked any Bush administration. Me either. I despise them. But yeah, I used to think all Republicans were evil. But here, I used to have a place in New York City, Joe, in Astoria Heights. I had a flat up there that I rented when I was working up there because I would work up there for a month or two at a time. So I would just rent a flat up there because it was a lot cheaper than staying in motels. And it was in the boroughs. It was in Queens, Astoria Heights, which is Queens. And I could get on the N train and ride directly into Manhattan and get off right there at Central Park, right there in Midtown Manhattan. Back in the late 90s. And the last time I was up there was 2001. And the first time I was ever in New York City was about 1993, 94. And that place was a dump. It was a hole. It was so bad. I mean, all the people that were locals to New York. I went out to this little bar with a couple of guys from London that I knew, and we were out, but they were from London. They were coming in from London, and I was from Dallas, Texas at the time. And we hung out with some locals, and the locals told us, all of us, hey man, you guys don't be walking around looking up at the buildings. Make sure you don't go down to the subway, or they call it the train. They don't call it the subway. If you're a local, you call it the train. They go, make sure you don't go down to the train or try to ride the train. Make sure that you don't walk around looking up at the buildings because you'll probably get mugged. And they told us these different places in New York City on the island of Manhattan, places not to go because we'll probably get mugged. And the subway was covered or the train was covered in graffiti, and it was a disaster. I thought it was a cool city, but I was really disappointed with how dirty it was, and just vagrants everywhere. And, it was just run down. It just looked all run down. And I just remember thinking, man, I bet this city would be really amazing if it, just wasn't all dirty and run down like it is. And lo and behold, New York City elected 2 Republican mayors, and within the time of 2 Republican mayors coming in and taking over New York City, that city has been transformed into the beautiful Mecca that I thought it should always be. I mean, there's no vagrants living in the parks anymore. It's just nice. It's nice and manicured and a beautiful city. You had Rudy Giuliani come in, and in the span of 2 Republican mayors, you had Rudy Giuliani, who was the mayor of New York City when 9/11 happened. And then you had Mike Bloomberg right after that. And if the Democrats is going to have anyone that could have competed with Trump, it was going to be Mike Bloomberg. But the Democrats hate Mike Bloomberg. But those two guys, now don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of Mike Bloomberg, but he does have a proven track record of getting shit done. I mean, look at New York City. I mean, him and Rudy Giuliani, those two mayors, cleaned up New York City and made it great again. And it's funny now they have another Democrat back in there, and it's already going back down the tubes. Yep. Embo Life goes, Giuliani cleaned it up. Yes, Rudy Giuliani. Mike Bloomberg kind of took the reins and kept it going, but Rudy Giuliani cleaned up New York City because it was dangerous. It was a disaster. The subways from the cars, the subway cars from the top to the bottom were covered in graffiti. On the inside of them, that you would see human feces, you would see everything in those cars. You'd see beer bottles, needles, everything. It was disgusting. I was disgusted by New York City the first time I went there. Now I liked it downtown where the old World Trade Center was. It was pretty nice downtown, but if you got up, I mean, even around like where Times Square was and stuff, it was seedy and there was junkies out there. And if you went by any of the parks, the only park that wasn't like that was Central Park because it was so many tourists. For Central Park. So Central Park was pretty nice, but if you went to any of the little parks, there was just people all over the park benches. There was tents in the parks, everything that we have here in LA now. That's what New York City was until two Republican mayors come along and cleaned it up. All the peep shows, the whorehouses got shut down. Yep, sure did. I mean, Times Square was basically a peep show. There was peep shows in Times Square. And all that stuff got shut down. Amble Life says Dems like to spend other people's money. Yes, they do. Yep. And California is a perfect example of that. The Dems want your money. They think they can spend it better than you can. We got 16 people in the room. Welcome, guys. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. If you're a Democrat, I'm not attacking you personally as being a Democrat. But I don't like the Democratic establishment. I don't like any of them. I think they're full of crap. All they do is talk about how we're going to help the middle class and help the poor people and raise them up. And all they do is raise taxes and charge people more money. It's so funny because right now people are flooding out of California. There's a video you can find on YouTube from a year or two ago that there was so many people leaving the Bay Area of San Francisco that U-Haul was literally out of trucks up there. Now, it's okay. If you don't want to stay in California, you can leave California. That's okay. But what pisses me off and what I hate is the hypocrisy of these jackasses that are leaving California. They're flooding away from California, and it's liberals. It's not all the Republicans. There's a ton of liberals. They're fleeing California like it's a sinking ship, but they're not moving to other liberal cities. They're not moving to Seattle. They're not moving to Portland. They're not moving to these other mecca liberal cities that are like this. They're moving to red states. They're moving to red states that have lower taxes, that have thriving economies, where everything is ginning right along, where it was. That's where they're fleeing to. They're not fleeing to, you don't have people fleeing from LA to Seattle or people fleeing from Seattle to LA because it's the same bullcrap, because it's the same Democrats that run both of these cities. And that's why they're being run into the ground. JBK says, I grew up in the 1970s, New York City, loved it back then. Yeah, it was a mess, JBK. The city of New York was literally almost bankrupt back then. If you look at the fires when people were burning the buildings down, that was more the 80s. The 70s probably weren't that bad, but was it the 80s where they were burning all the buildings down in New York City? Amber Life says, Rav, this is April. My parents and I lived in California 10 years and they moved to New Hampshire. I don't blame them. And again, the state of California is absolutely beautiful. There's no state in that I know of in the United States, and I've been to almost all 50 of them, except for maybe Hawaii, where the weather is as nice as it is here. I mean, every day you probably have out of 365 days of the year, you probably have 325 or 30 of those that's all sun. You can't beat that. Let's see. JBK, yeah, 80s is when it turned into a sewer. Okay, it was the 80s. Yeah. Yeah, it was a mess. Like the Bronx used to look like a third world country. Literally. There's old videos you can find on YouTube of what the Bronx used to look like, and it literally looked like a third world country. Looked like a bunch of old abandoned buildings. Kind of what Detroit looks like now. You know, Detroit, you can look at Detroit. Detroit used to be a very, you know, when it was the Motor City, it was back in the 60s, it was a very conservative town. And then all of a sudden it went full on Democrat and the unions come in and everything. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that'll tell you that Democrats destroyed Detroit. Joe, where am I at? Joe, I'm in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, California. And it's funny because when I was a teenager, when I was a kid in high school, I dreamed about moving out here. I couldn't wait to move to California because there was a lot of things I didn't like about Texas. And you can get me started on Texas. Now, Texas isn't perfect either. I lived there all my life, so I know. So I can tell you the problems with being living in a conservative state, and I can tell you the problems living in a liberal state. And it's like I tell all of my friends that if you put me in as dictator and gave me some place, I'd take everything that I love about liberalism, which there are a lot of good things about liberalism. I would take all of those things and I would take all the good things about conservatism, and I would make it a mecca, because you take the good with both of those and you would have something amazing. Let me go back to my show notes here. Oh, okay. So let's talk about, we talked about Bernie. Let's talk about 5G. Is 5G causing does anybody here think the 5G is causing the coronavirus? Amber Life says, April here, my only impressions of LA as a kid were from watching reruns of Dragnet. Yeah. And Adam 12 and Emergency. I watched all those old shows. Brian Knowles says, hey, Rev, can I share some info about being on the road right now? Yes, you can, Brian. I don't care about the politics. I'm a Democrat, but I'm proud of what I do now for those of us that travel and live on the road. Yeah, Brian, let's hear what you do, buddy. Yeah, you can definitely share that with us, Brian. Nomad and Broken says 5G causing this is bull. Yeah, but it's that conspiracy theory is really taking hold. And the one thing I can say is it's kind of crazy how many conspiracy theories there are. If you're wondering why it's all bright back here, guys, it's crazy the difference in just a week. A week ago, by 6 o'clock, by 6 p.m., it was dark outside. It's not dark. It's it's 7 o'clock already, and it's still not dark outside. Yeah, it's still full on daylight. It's crazy what a week's difference makes. Amber says, thank you, Brian, for everything you're doing. Let's see what you're doing, Brian. But with 5G, there's so many conspiracy theories going around right now. It's hard to keep up with them. You have the QAnon people, you have the 5G people. It's insane. Nobody wants to think that the funny thing is nobody wants to think that this coronavirus, or I shouldn't say nobody, but the ones that are the loudest, the ones that you hear the most, don't want to think it's just a natural phenomenon. They all want to think that the government, the deep state behind it, or there's way more to it than what it really is. And, you know, that it may all play out. That may be true. But I mean, as far as it looks like it's just a virus. Chevy Life 5G is about as bad as QAnon. Exactly. I agree with that, Chevy Life. And the funny thing is Joe, what is the 5G argument? It's not an argument, Joe. It's a conspiracy theory. There's this big conspiracy theory, and this is big. guys. Don't get me wrong. Like, I posted on my Facebook and I ended up deleting the post because the 5G troop was very PO'd that I was saying anything about them. So I just deleted it because I didn't feel like arguing with them. That's why I decided to discuss it here today if somebody wanted to come on and discuss it. But so this happened with 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. And I was going to take a snippet of Alex Jones' show today because I actually went on Alex Jones' show on InfoWars, and I watched about 15 minutes of his live presentation, his live show today. And the first 2 or 3 minutes was him ranting about 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. Now, don't get me wrong. I've known Alex Jones since back in the 90s. When Alex was chasing the governor of Texas around at the time, who was George Bush Jr. He was chasing him around and to his rallies and, yelling at him for corrupt things that George Bush Jr. was doing and had done at the time. And that's how I really came to know who Alex Jones was. So as crazy as Alex Jones is, I know exactly who he is, and I've listened to him a lot. And I remember when he was really on and on about 3G. It wasn't so much 2G, but when 3G came out, he had this whole thing. I remember he showed, like, in Alabama or Georgia, he showed all of these Rubbermaid looking coffins. They look like a Rubbermaid. They were this rubber coffin thing. And there was hundreds of them in this field. There were hundreds of them everywhere. And he said that they were coffins because all of the 3G towers was the Illuminati, and it was the elites of the world, the Illuminati that want to bring the world population down to 500 million. So all of these coffins were being shipped in. You could probably still find this stuff. And I didn't buy this stuff hook, line, and sinker, but man, I was like, at that time, I was very conspiracy oriented when I was living in Texas. And I didn't take everything he said as gospel, but I was like, wow. I was like, oh my God. And I remember telling my wife, do you see what's going on? What are they doing? I don't even understand this. Why would there be all these coffins out there? And come to find out, they weren't coffins. They were like they were like tree planting things, like you put in the ground. They were like tree planters, but they were big like this desk. And you could put like 4 or 5 trees in them or something like that. They weren't coffins, but they did look like coffins, and they were being shipped all over the United States. So Alex Jones would fly all over the United States and show these huge fields of these Rubbermaid. They look like made out of Rubbermaid. They look like a Rubbermaid tub, but they were all like 6 feet long. And that was another thing is, because they were like 5.5 feet or 6 feet long. How many people are over 6 feet tall? You know what I mean? It didn't even make sense. But I kind of bought that hook, line, and sinker. The other one I bought hook, line, and sinker was the Y2K. I had my boss at my company in Dallas was Automated Eye Systems. They've since changed the name to Intercool, but when I was working there, we changed the name. But it was when I started working there, it was called Automated Eye Systems, and we were a refrigeration company there in Carrollton, Texas. And I was so freaked out about the Y2K that I had my boss upgrade all of our computers to a newer system, so we wouldn't be wiped out by Y2K. So he spent $56,000 with Gateway. Was it Gateway Computers that had the little cow thing that was their motto? I'm sure it was Gateway. So he spent $56,000 upgrading our computer system because I was so freaked out about the Y2K stuff. And then we still had a couple of the old computers online when 99 rolled into 2000 and nothing happened. And I felt like the biggest moron. So ever since then, I really stop and think about the conspiracy theories and what's going on. And the QAnon, that's another one. So so we have the 5G. Let's talk about these conspiracies. So we have the 5G conspiracy, and the 5G conspiracy, if you don't know, if you haven't really heard about it, the 5G conspiracy is right now, they're rolling out these 5G towers, and they're putting them all over everywhere. And they're going to upgrade our phones and stuff from 4G to 5G. So from 4G LTE to 5G. Well, the deal is 5G is a 66 hertz frequency. And so people are worried about the magnetic waves. They're freaking out about the magnetic waves. They say that's what's causing the COVID-19 is these magnetic waves from these 5G towers. The funny thing about it is there's very few 5G towers anywhere yet. They're still putting them up, but there's only one here and there. There's very few 5G towers. There's not enough 5G towers in the world to make everybody sick with COVID-19 is one thing. So it just it gateway. That's right. Nomad and Burger. What did I say? They were gateway computers. Yeah, they had the cow. Um, where did the gateway go? Man, Dell killed them. They were huge for probably about 5 or 6 years, and then they just kind of died and went away. They were really big business computers, bringing in their system for your business. And we looked at Dell and we looked at Gateway and ended up going with Gateway because they gave us a better deal. Amber says Texas has the best barbecue. Yes, Texas does have the best barbecue. I could definitely go for some Texas barbecue right now. But anyway, so the people that believe in the 5G conspiracy, and there's a bunch of them. I see so many people, and it's all conservatives. It's almost all conservatives that believe this, that the 5G is basically causing the COVID-19 thing. And Alex Jones. It was funny because when I went to watch his show today, I haven't watched his show in a long time, but I just kind of wanted to see what he was spouting off. And sure enough, that's exactly what he was talking about, the 5G. He was talking about, and he said 3G, 4G, 5G, and he's talking about the way the same thing he was talking about when the 3G came out. He's still on that same thing, even though nothing's happened. We've been through 3G now, we've been through 4G, and now we're going to 5G, and nothing has happened. We don't know. There's not been any mass die off, except for now the COVID. But so that this is now, so it took nothing happened 3G, nothing happened 4G, but now 5G. Now we have the COVID. So it just doesn't make sense. And then the one that's a real deep rabbit hole, if you go down it, is the QAnon people, the Q people. Has anybody looked into this? The QAnon? Because I've looked into it. I mean, it's a great conspiracy. Basically, it's there's a lot of things that's happened that you're going, like the thing the QAnon people were really looking at, and it is weird. Is a couple of weeks ago, or like 3.5, 4 weeks ago, you had all of these CEOs of major corporations just all of a sudden stepping down. All of them, like Bill Gates, Disney, the Disney CEO. Like Starbucks. There was like 20 CEOs that all of a sudden just stepped down, and it was all within like the same week. That was weird. And that's what pushes this QAnon conspiracy. And basically what the QAnon conspiracy is the QAnon conspiracy is that these people, there was this guy that was posted on Reddit. It was either Reddit or 4chan. I can't remember which board, but he was posting as Q, and he was talking about Trump as being elected to be the savior, and Trump is fighting the deep state, and he's going to be exposing all the Democrats and all the evil reptilian people and all of these kind of things. And so now the QAnon think that they think that JFK Jr. is still alive, and JFK Jr. is this guy called Vincent Fusca, Fusca. Fusca, Vincent Fusca. So remember JFK Jr., he died in a plane crash with his wife and his wife's sister. Well, the QAnon people think that JFK Jr. is still alive. And you can see this guy, Vincent Fusca, has a Twitter page. You can go check out his Twitter page. And the funny thing is, if you look at Vincent Fusca's nose and you go look at old pictures of JFK, they look nothing alike. I mean, it's difference between night and day. They don't look anything alike. So to me, that people think that it's JFK Jr. is still alive, and he's this guy Vincent Fusca. It blows my mind. I mean, all you can have to do is look at his jawline and look at his nose. It's not the same person. Brian says, I don't mean to be rude, Rav, but I came here tonight because I have always liked your broadcast. The political talk about 5G and Democratic nonsense is just that, nonsense. Yeah, I agree, Brian, but there's a lot of people that's talking about it. It's the reason I was talking about it. Yeah, I'm not trying to run you off, Brian. Yeah, Brian, what were you going to post? Brian, I came here tonight to share information with my fellow travelers about how to travel right now. Okay, well, let's hear what you got to say, Brian. Just, I'm going to address something right quick. I know you guys are probably looking and thinking about uh, why I'm not talking about more van life stuff. I mean, I have Ambo life in here. I do have Nomads in here, but if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm getting away from the whole van life thing. I'm kind of distancing myself from it after this year at RTR and things. There's too, and with my Nomad News channel, there's too much drama in the whole Nomad community. And so I'm literally distancing myself from that. And I'm trying to go more of a mainstream thing and not just talk about van life stuff anymore. That's why I have this new podcast called American Nomad, but it's American Nomad is by no means going to be just van life stuff. So if you want to come here and you want to discuss van life stuff, I'm totally cool with that. But I'm looking to try to do more mainstream stuff, talk to other people about other things and not just van life. That's the reason I pretty much have stopped posting over. I have not pretty much. I stopped posting over at Nomad News, is because just in the van life community on YouTube, you have so many people that you just get nothing but negativity, and so I'm doing other things. And if you don't want to, if you're just here for the van life stuff and you don't want to continue, I totally understand that, and it's no hard feelings. But if you think this is just going to be a van life podcast, it's not. I literally I bought my truck, my Snap-on truck. My goal was to set up my Snap-on truck to be able to do like a van life podcast, and I'm not even going down that route anymore. Uh, Travman, I like the down to earth chat talk. Thanks, Travman. I appreciate it. Brian Knoll says I've tried to several times. I've tried to several times. I'm listening to this political crap. Okay, well, what do you got to say, Brian? Okay, that's fine, but I'm not interested in your politics. Okay, that's fine. Chevy Life says you're doing good on money, supplies, etc. I'm trying to live frugal. I'm not spending a lot of money. I'm not making any money, Trav. So I'm just trying to live frugal. So what did you have to share, Brian? What is your recommendation on traveling? Nomad and Broken says life in a van shouldn't be considered different from living in a house. Everything affects us the same because we live in a van doesn't mean that we should talk about. I totally agree with you, Nomad and Broken. And for you guys that don't know, we have Ambo Life in here. They are full-time nomads. They live in a converted ambulance. We have Nomad and Broken in here. He does a lot of a lot of law. I don't know if they're podcasts, but a lot of live streams where he's talking about van life because he lives in a van. Brian says, well, since you're separating those of us that follow you from RV life. Yeah, I'm listening, Brian. What do you got to say? What did you want to say? What was the information you want to share? Yeah, I'm just sitting here waiting on you to give us some information, Brian. Chevy Life says, I'm biting my tongue right about now. Right now, right? Yeah, it's yeah, I'm more than willing to listen to whatever information you have to share with us, Brian. Brian says, I was trying to share one of my last articles about where to travel in current closures. Okay, well, let us know, Brian. Listen, I'm all ears. Brooklyn says, Rav, I read that they are now thinking and saying COVID was here in November, December. Oh, you shared the link earlier, Brian? You shared the link in the room? Where did you share the link, Brian? Because if you don't know how if you don't know how this YouTube thing works, if you try to share a link in the room, you're not a moderator. You can't share a link. Your link's not going to show up. That's considered spam by YouTube. So if you shared a link to your article, Brian, I apologize. It's not going to show up. I don't see it anywhere in the room. So it went to the moderator. It must have went to the moderator thing because we never saw a link that you shared. YouTube doesn't work like that, Brian. You can't just share a link in the room unless you've been chosen to share a link. Chevy Love says, what do you think the U.S. is going to get back to normal or not? Chevy Life, that information that you shared about the ivermectin or whatever it is. So Ambo Life and Nomad and Broken both didn't see the link. Yeah, so that's because YouTube censors it. YouTube killed the link. You can't share a link unless you have a wrench by your name, guys. You can't share a link in the room. It doesn't work like that. That's anybody's room. You guys should know that, right? That's considered spam. So that stuff automatically it's filtered by YouTube. If you go into somebody's chat, you need to ask them and let them know that you're going to try to share a link. Because you could send your link to me and I could post it, but you can't just come in somebody's room and share a link, Brian. Let's see. Eve says, and if you were sick, fever, and coughing in January for more than a week, you may be immune now. Yeah, we're hearing that's another conspiracy, guys. I wonder about that though, because the problem is nobody was dying back then. Brian says, I didn't know any of that. Sorry. Yeah, that's the way it's set up, Brian. Not my rules. Yeah, so nobody saw your link, buddy. Apologize for that. But then that's exactly the reason that YouTube does that. It's because you shouldn't ever go into somebody's room and expect to be posting your link to your stuff unless you've cleared it with whoever's chat that is to begin with. Because I'd want to read the article before you posted it here, Brian, to know what was in the article. Because you may be politically ranting like I am, and I might not agree with your politics. Does that make sense? I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's the way YouTube does it. You can't post the link unless you have a wrench by your name. But Nomad and Broken and Ambo Life, they are two of my moderators, so they can post links. So you could, if you contacted me and let me know, and or contacted one of them, they could post it in the room. Oh man, Chevy Life, come on, dude, really? You don't have to do that. I appreciate it though. It's so funny because Travman, I actually he's always hitting me with a super chat, and Travis, I actually call Travis Travman. It's so funny. Appreciate that, Travman. Yeah, so I will say this is what I will say about the COVID thing is I don't see the death rate being. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to take this lightly. There's a lot of people that are dying from it, but I don't see the pandemic deaths that I was scared of. Uh, it's sad anybody dying, and there was just a little girl that died. So it's, and we may not have seen the worst of it. I mean, but a lot of it, I think, may be that us all sheltering in place, I think, has really helped bring these numbers down compared to what we thought it was going to be. I know the CDC had said 80 something thousand, I think 85,000, and now they've dropped that to 60,000. That's still a buttload of people that's going to pass away. Travman says, Rav AI, I'll send you a link to this 5G antenna stuff on Messenger. Okay, yeah, send me a link to it. I've read a ton of stuff. So do you think it's the 5G, Travman? Now don't get me wrong, buddy. I've read tons of the stuff about the 5G already. I know the conspiracy behind it pretty much as good as the conspiracy theorists do. And the thing about it is you have to look at it like, so here's a question. Here's one of my questions with the 5G thing. So you have Iran. Iran doesn't really have any 5G towers. They don't have the infrastructure for 5G towers. But Iran has been rocked by the coronavirus. Brian Knoll says, too bad because you've asked me a few times to share my links. Yeah, I don't remember asking. You could send them to me and share them with me, Brian. Eve says, also, if more people have had it, will also bring the numbers down. Yeah, I agree with that, Eve. And there's still a whole bunch of people out there that don't even believe that the coronavirus is even anything to worry about. So, it is what it is. Those people are never going to change their mind unless somebody close to them or themselves gets sick. That's the only way they'll ever change their mind. Going to run this for about an hour and a half. It's one. We've been at an hour and 17 minutes. So, Brian, let me ask you this, Brian. So, where could people find? What is your? Try to tell me where would they find your article? Do you have a website? Now, you can't post your website because that'll get deleted too. But if you could post it like, like the name, just the name or something like that. Can people look you up on your blog or your at Brian Knoll, or how would they do that? How would they go about finding your article? It's got to be posted somewhere on the internet. Chevy Live says the virus may be natural, but its timing was highly suspect. Trump standing up to China on trade, plus Trump was just acquitted. Next day, started hearing of the virus. Weird. I agree. I totally agree with that, Travis. Trapman, it can't be the 5G at the link. At the link, create a virus that can be spread from human to human. Yeah. The thing about the 5G is everybody's talking about the magnetic waves. And, I will say that, there's evidence that magnetic waves are not good for us. But the thing about it is, I mean, why are people so worried about cell phone towers? You get a lot more magnetic waves from electricity towers, from electricity lines, and they're running down everybody's street and nobody's worried about them. You're going to get the biggest dose of magnetic waves are from the sun. And nobody's worried about the sun. Joshua Rialto says, why doesn't Wendy's rerun those Where's the Beef commercials? Their sales would go up. That's funny. Those are actually funny commercials. Trapman says it would be a faulty 5G antenna or equip that could cause microwave like burns on a body about it, though. Yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing is people don't realize is, so this is a little fact for you guys. You can look this up. 5G is not near as powerful as 4G LTE. you literally need about 50 antennas to cover or maybe more than that. You may need, I don't know those numbers. I could be wrong on those numbers. So I'm just giving a for instance, like for one 4G LTE antenna can cover like 10 miles. You would need like 150, 200 antennas for 5G to cover that. 5G doesn't go very far. So for those of you that don't know, so like you can walk up to a 5G antenna and be right by a 5G antenna and get at 1.9 gigabyte download speed. That's incredible. That means you could download like you could download a movie like off iTunes in like 4 or 5 seconds. I mean, it would just be instantly downloaded. All your videos are just going to automatically stream. But if you walk across the street from that 5G antenna, it's going to lose. You're going to be back to 4G speeds almost. That's why there's going to have to be so many freaking 5G antennas because it doesn't go even half as far. It doesn't go as a quarter of as far as 4G. Nomad Unbroken says, I'm worried about the sun. I think that thing is trying to kill us. Yeah, it can definitely give you cancer. That's for sure. I think we all know that one. So is Brian, you still in the room, Brian? Or did I run you off? Yeah, anyway, you could email me at ravholly@gmail.com and send me your links. And then maybe in the next show, I could read your article and then I could post your links for you in the room. We still got 14 people in the room. We got 7 thumbs up. And so I think we covered the 5G and we covered the QAnon. Because I have a couple of friends of mine who are deep in the QAnon. So it's funny. I mean, it's a deep rabbit hole. If you go down the QAnon stuff, it's a deep rabbit hole. Chevy Life says also China is buying up American stock, restarting their GDP didn't drop hardly at all. Nothing like every other country. Yeah, I've read that too, Chevy Life. But the thing about it is what you don't like what everybody should realize is I've read that and I'm hearing it, and don't get me wrong, I'm no fan of China at all. I think most of you know that. But the thing about it is we're China's biggest customer. The world stage is China's biggest customer. So they've got to be manufacturing and shipping out products to sustain their economy. And they're not doing that right now. I could tell you all of their big garment manufacturing facilities are still shut down in China. None of them are up and running. None of them. You still can't get hoodies. You can't get blanks. You can't get anything out of China. None of those things are running. All of this talk about China's all back up and running and back to normal is not true. Brian Neal says, okay, we've done this before. Good night. Good night, Brian. Did you send me the links before, Brian? Nomad Unbroken says DJI has slowed a lot. Well, DJI had problems anyway. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a DJI drone sitting right there. I like DJI. They make for Chinese products. That's a very inventive product. Is their drones? You sent me the links before, Brian. I don't remember. I don't remember you sending them to me, so I apologize. But yeah, you couldn't get very good customer support anyway through DJI. How long ago was that, Brian? Chevy Life says the wet markets in Wuhan opened again. When will they learn? Yeah, you would think that they would. Twice, as a matter of fact, Brian says. You sent me the links to post, or what did you send me the links for, Brian? Did you send them to my Gmail, Brian? Let me look right now. Just for the record, so I just checked my email. I checked my email about an hour before I started the podcast. I have 30 unanswered emails. I have 30 unopened emails in the last couple hours, last 2.5 hours. Well, let me go into my Gmail and check it though. Let's see. Bear with me, guys. And what is your email just Brian Knoll, Brian? Yeah, I do have your emails here. You sent me one back on 8th and the 26th of 19. whereyoumakeit.com. That's Brian's that is Brian's website, guys. whereyoumakeit.com. And he has an article from March 26, 2020 about the national park closures and RVing with COVID-19. So if you guys want to, if you want to visit Brian's site, it is where WHEREUWOU makeit.com. I just shared your website, Brian, whereyoumakeit.com. I just looked up the emails. Whereyoumakeit.com is Brian's website. Lee Nort says, I can't keep up with those Chevy. Too many to keep up with. And other topics, anyone looking for a good Bluetooth speaker, look at the Sound Core Motion. Just saying. I haven't bought a Bluetooth speaker in quite some time. Is that Sound Motion? Is that made in China, Chevy Life? I bet you it is. Chevy Life says they're all made in China. That's exactly true. Everything's made in China these days. Excuse me. Did everybody get Brian's website? It's Where You Make It. He does have some good RV life articles on there, it looks like. Van Life with Gina Payne. Hey, Gina, what is going on, girl? We're just getting ready to wrap this thing up. Good to see you, Gina. Chevy Life says, but it sounds really good for $90. That's not a cheap freaking speaker. $90. You can get a lot cheaper speaker than that. That sounds good. I think I got mine at Walmart. Ambo Life says we have a Bose Micro Sound Link. Braggers. Yeah, I love Bose. You can't beat Bose. Leah says that's a good price, Chevy. For one speaker, for one Bluetooth speaker, you guys think $90 is a good price for one Bluetooth speaker made in China? I don't know if I agree with that. I think I can get a decent Bluetooth speaker for $40 or $50. As a matter of fact, a girl I used to date, she had one that looked like a Roland amp. It was a Bluetooth speaker, but it looked like a Roland amp. Brian Knoll says, thanks. I've been trying to post info about where nomads and travelers can find safe harbor right now. I'll have another update coming tomorrow. Okay, Brian. So again, Brian's website is whereyoumakeit.com. Amber Life says, our good buddy works for Bose. We got a deal. Ooh, wow. Lucky you. Lucky. Is it still daylight outside? I think I just turned my light. I didn't turn my light the right way. It's a lot brighter in here tonight. Lee Nort says, I bought Bose 901s back in the 70s. Yeah. You can't beat Bose. They're the best. Okay. The sun's just going down. I set another light up here tonight to give it a little bit more light, and I think it's a little bit too much light for me. I kind of like it when it's darker back there in the background. Let me shut this other light off. That made all the difference, but now it's too dark. Let's see. I did some light reconfigurating today, and it looks like I didn't do a very good job of it. There we go. All right. We still got 11 people in the room. We got 9 thumbs up. I do appreciate that, guys. So yeah, I didn't mean to offend anybody, but just so you guys know, I don't plan on just talking about van life anymore in my podcast here. If you're coming just for the van life, I do apologize because I'm going to be trying to just cover, more topics than just van life. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube talking about van life. My good friends Ambo Life, they have great videos, very informative videos about van life. Nomad and Broken, he live streams about van life. Leon Nort says, hey, Rav, the banner on the bottom of the screen says, thanks, Chevy Life. Thank you. It sure does. Thank you. I fixed it, I think. Let's see. Thank you, Trav Man. Well, we're gonna switch it back to Trav Man now. Oh, now it says F. Now it says LFIE. Oh man. So it's funny. I had literally was setting up today, trying to get set up because I was gonna do some caps with my American Nomad logo, the flag that I have that says AN on it, and try to do some caps and some t-shirts through Teespring because Teespring has a deal. Thank you, Trav Man, for the super chat, buddy. I really appreciate that, man. You guys don't have to do that. I really appreciate it, though. So Teespring, if you don't know, they actually have a deal with YouTube, and turn this light. They have a deal with YouTube to so you can sell your merchandise. So I was actually, and if you've looked at somebody's video and you see their merchandise, their t-shirts and stuff underneath their video, it's called a YouTube shelf. So you can sell your merchandise through Teespring. So you don't have to stock it or anything like we do here with t-shirts. For us to do t-shirts, like even printing, like we do bulk quantity. So like even a 3,000 order of t-shirts, that's a smallish to medium order. So I was just going to look at Teespring and try to get t-shirts and stuff done. Well, you can't really do that unless you have 10,000 subscribers, I found out. Brian No says, thanks, Rav. I apologize if I was being too forward in your broadcast. I did come here because of the van life, and that is what I do. I'm just trying to get my information out there to all of us. Gotcha, Brian. No worries. Amber says, stay tuned for more cello on Ambo Life. Yeah, that's actually good. That's actually good content, Ambo Life. Brian Nell says, I'm just trying to let people know where they can go. Yep. We appreciate that, Brian. Just for your information, guys, I get a ton of people though. This is I'm letting you know as well, Brian. I apologize. I didn't remember. I get so many people hitting me up to to collaborate and post stuff, and sometimes I just literally it literally slips my mind. So I apologize, Brian. I didn't remember our previous conversation. Bob's Adventure. Hey Bob, what's going on, guy? Welcome, Bob. So maybe I'll take a poll. Like, what do you guys I want to find other topics to talk about other than just van life. Leah says, I suffer from CRS. Bob's Adventure says, Nomad and Broken told me about you. Oh, man, Nomad and Broken. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, Brian Knoll, do you see Nomad and Broken's message there? He says, DM him and he'll introduce you to his Facebook group. That way you can post your stuff in the Facebook group. Looky there. Amy Preston made it. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. That's funny. Eve, your comment actually got somebody posted it. That's funny because it got held for moderation because you said you can't remember diddly. Yep. Thanks for joining us, Bob's Adventure. Yeah, one of the mods caught it, Eve, and they went ahead and posted it. But it's funny because it had profanity in it, so it got held for moderation for a moderator. Well, I will say this has been a successful tonight because last time I can get a podcast going for anything. So at least we're back to running. Everything's back to running again. So I guess whatever I did, I don't know what I did to fix my computer, but evidently it's worked. Knock on wood. Bob's Adventure says, no problem. Got my Amazon cart ready to go with my diesel heater next cash flow. Yeah, good for you, Bob's Adventure. That's going to be a life changing thing when you get that diesel heater. Karen Snyder, good to see you, Karen. I didn't even know you were in here, Karen. You've been quiet. Trapman said you had just too much clutter on your PC. It was a cluster. Yeah, you're right there, Trapman. I did have a lot of clutter on it. Not that much though. Because this PC is my gaming PC. I have another Dell, so this is my gaming PC. So I try to keep everything. I try to keep everything. I don't install a lot of software on it because I didn't want it to be weighted down. So I try not to really install anything. But I did go through and clean house today. Cleaned up all the temp files and deleted all the cookies and all that kind of stuff, which is always fun because then you got to sign back into every website that you get out of. Leah Nort says, I'm not a big Amazon fan. I'm not a fan of the way Amazon treats their employees. Same as Walmart. Amy Preston says, my daughter had to pay $25 for 18 rolls of TP at Walmart. What? $25 for 18 rolls of toilet paper? That is insane. Bob's Adventure says, nice. I watched some installation videos. Seems straightforward. Yeah, you just got to cut a big 3-inch hole in the bottom of your rig or somewhere in your rig to run that exhaust out. But Ambo Life has a diesel heater. They installed theirs, I believe, Ambo Life. Didn't you, Ambo Life? And gosh, who is it that it's geez, I can't think of his name right now. He'll do the installation if you're in Arizona. He'll install it for you. Takes him about an hour. My God, I can't think of his name, or I'd plug his name. Banks, everybody needs one. That's his motto thing is badge. It's badge. Badge. Everybody needs one. If anybody's in Arizona, Badge will do. If you need a diesel heater installed, Badge will install your diesel heater for you. I don't know why. He's a friend of mine. I don't know why I could think of his name. Bob's Adventure says, we'll direct people to you for a step-by-step ambo when I get mine and edit the episode together for mine. Yep, there you go. Leah says, people should look into buying commercial TP. Lots of that is not being used right now. Yep, that's exactly right. We have a whole case of it. But it's not the best toilet paper. Ambo Life says, we are running our diesel heater now, and it is toasty as well as all get out in here. Your rig is a really nice homey rig though too. Amy Preston says, are diesel heaters loud? No, you can't really hear them. They're not loud at all. Can you guys hear your heater? You hear the fan a little bit, I guess, right? Ambo Life, but they're very quiet. I have a big in my Snap-on truck, and in Bertha there's a propane furnace in each one of those trucks, and it is loud. They're both really loud. Bob's Adventureman says, I'm in Washington State right now. What's it looking like up there, Bob? Like we're talking about like down here in California and Arizona, like a lot of the BLM land is closing. The BLM's closing a lot of the land. So what's it looking like up in Washington State? You're up in the home state of Nomadic Fanatic, the world famous Nomadic Fanatic. Bob says, I am in a 95 E20 XL with only rear door windows. That's what I am building out. Oh, I got you. So you're still building your rig. Amber Life says, ours is not loud. Fuel pump makes a faint ticking noise. Yeah. But you installed the fuel pump outside the rig though, right? Isn't it underneath the rig? I've actually seen so many of those diesel heater installations now. They run together. I know someone that I looked at, they installed the fuel pump underneath outside because they had installed the fuel pump inside the rig and it ticked too loud. So they ended up putting it up underneath the fender well outside. I was thinking it was you guys. Chevy Light says, talking about Rona, you wouldn't believe how many nurses are being laid off. No patients. Yeah, you're hearing that everywhere. Like up in New York, people are going up and looking at the hospitals and there's no patients. And I know like the big ship that they got out there in New York has got like 20 patients on it. So that is a little bit weird. Wow, look, we got Gus in a bus. What is going on, Gus? What's up, buddy? Good to see you, Gus, in a bus. Haven't seen you since RTR. You know, it's funny, Gus in a bus. You're not going to know this, but when I was leaving Schoolie Palooza, I stopped at a little gas station to let my dog go use the bathroom and fill up my truck with diesel and to get on the road back to California. And you were parked back in the back of that station, I think taking a nap. I started to knock on your door, but I don't want to disturb you. Gus says, hey, buddy, left California a month ago. Cooler here in Vancouver, but free health care. Oh, you're back up north. You're back up in the Great White North. You're back up there hanging out with, Just Incredible. That's his hometown too. Ambo Life says fuel pump is outside, is in an outside compartment. Got you, Ambo Life. Nomad and Brooklyn, there is Brian's email. All right, guys, we just hit 145, so I was going to run this to 130, an hour and a half, and we're at an hour and 45 minutes. Man, the time goes by so fast when I'm doing this. It's crazy. I appreciate it, guys, everybody. Oh, we got 17 people in the room now. Yeah, we're going to wrap this thing up. I've been going for almost 2 hours. I got 2 hours of battery life here on this camera, though, so I guess we could go a few more minutes since we got so many people in the room. And Gus just got here. Gus, my Wi-Fi is bad. I might catch you later. I got you, Gus. No problem. Your Wi-Fi is bad in Vancouver? Are you out in the woods? Where are you at, Gus? Yeah, Nomad and Broken, Van City, Van Life, and Just Incredible. Both are in Vancouver. You know, it is Vancouver. So some people talk about it being the original van life city. I don't know about that. Is that why they named it Vancouver? I don't know. Maybe Gus would know. I don't know. But I know there's a lot of van lifers in Vancouver. So the last thing I was going to talk about is not really politics, but it is. I'm just going to make a quick, because I have my show notes here. I'm just going to make a quick reference to it because it kind of took me by. It didn't take me by surprise because I knew this was going to happen in third world nations. But if you guys haven't heard, in gosh, it's Ecuador. So has anybody heard what's going on in Ecuador? I've never been to Ecuador, but anyway, just so you guys know, I mean, this is kind of a morbid detail, but so the people in Ecuador, there's so many people that are dying from COVID-19 that people are abandoning their bodies in the street, hoping that the government will pick them up. So I was pretty horrified by that, and there was a whole article on it and a bunch of videos. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys coming by. Thank you, Brian, for your links. Thank you, Bob, for stopping in and checking it out. Ambo Life, I love you guys. Nomad and Broken, thank you, buddy. Trav, man, you're one of the best. Let's see. That's funny, Brian. I got your comment got held for moderation there, so I had to approve it. Brian says, I hate Canadians, but I follow both of those guys. LOL, I'm kidding. Amy Preston, so good to see everyone. Amy, it's so good to see you. Everybody that showed up tonight, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Glad we got YouTube seems to be sorted out. Leah Nortz, thank you so much. Amy Preston. Bob, thanks for showing up. Karen Snyder, thank you. I think she's gone already. Brian Knoll, thank you. Chevy Life, my buddy Trav, thank you. Eve, English Bulldogs, thank you. Thank you, Trav, man. Thank you, Chevy Life, for the super chats tonight. I totally appreciate that, guys. I appreciate it. One of these days we'll have to get together and I'll have to buy you guys a beer. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of American Nomad. Thanks, guys, for stopping in. And remember, everything you've ever wanted is sitting right on the other side of fear. Peace, guys. Take care of yourself. Until next time.